All right, let's dive right into a topic that honestly freaks a lot of people out. It's probably one of the most common questions I see in the keto community. You're a few months into keto, you're feeling amazing, the weight is coming off, and then you look down at your hairbrush and it's full of hair. Today, we're going to get to the bottom of this, and I promise the real reason is probably not what you're thinking.
Does this sound familiar? Oh man, if you've been through this, you know that sinking feeling in your stomach. It is so alarming, right? You're doing something fantastic for your health, and suddenly it feels like your body is betraying you in a very, very visible way. The first thing you need to know is you are not alone. This is a super common experience.
And here is the second and way more important thing I need you to hear right now. In almost every single case, this is completely temporary and totally fixable. So just take a deep breath. We're not just going to talk about the problem today, we are going to give you a rock-solid plan to solve it.
Okay, so to fix this, we have to make sure we're actually fighting the right battle. And that starts with understanding that we might just be blaming the wrong enemy.
So, there's a medical term for this kind of hair shedding. It's called telogen effluvium. It sounds super complicated, but the idea is actually pretty simple. When your body goes through some kind of major stressor, and we'll get to what that means in a second, it can basically hit a big red panic button. When that happens, it can shove up to 30% of your hair follicles into what's called a resting phase all at once. They stop growing and they get ready to fall out.
Now, this timeline right here, this is the crucial clue. It's the key to the whole mystery. The trigger, let's say it's starting a new diet, happens at month 0. But the hair doesn't actually start falling out until 2, 3, even 4 months later. You see? This delay is the exact reason everyone points the finger at keto 3 months in, when the real trigger was the way they started the diet way back at the beginning.
So if the state of ketosis itself isn't the bad guy, then who are the real culprits? Let's line up the usual suspects, the actual stressors that can pull that trigger.
Let me be crystal clear on this. It is not the metabolic state of ketosis that causes hair loss. It's the huge, drastic changes that we sometimes make when we start a new diet. It's not the what, it's the how.
We've basically narrowed it down to 5 main suspects. We're going to investigate each one. Going way too low on calories, not getting nearly enough protein, missing some key nutrients, putting stress on your thyroid, and yeah, just good old-fashioned life stress. Okay, trigger number 1, and this is the big one by far, is cutting your calories too fast and too hard. It's so common for people to get excited, right? They slash 800, maybe 1,000 calories overnight. Your body doesn't see that as a diet. It sees it as a famine, and its first response is to shut down all non-essential projects. And I'm sorry to say, growing a lush head of hair is considered non-essential when survival is on the line. A gentle deficit, like 15 to 20%, is the way to go. No shocking the system. Suspect number 2, not eating enough protein. This is so simple that it gets overlooked all the time. Your hair is literally made of protein, a protein called keratin. If you aren't eating enough of the building blocks, your body can't build the hair. It is that direct. You really should be aiming for at least 1.2 grams of protein for every kilogram of your body weight. And honestly, if you're worried, bumping that up to 1.6 is even better. And that brings us to suspect number 3, specific nutrient gaps. It's not just about fat, protein, and carbs. Your hair needs tiny micronutrients to grow. Just look at this list. We need iron to carry oxygen to the follicles, biotin, zinc, and look at the sources. Red meat, eggs, fish, these are all keto staples. And hey, a little pro tip. See selenium? Just eating 2 Brazil nuts a day can make a massive difference for your thyroid health, which is huge for your hair.
Speaking of the thyroid, this is a really big one. An underactive thyroid is a classic textbook cause of hair loss. So if you're shedding hair and you're also just exhausted all the time, constantly cold, or dealing with constipation, your thyroid might be crying out for help. Please don't guess. Go to your doctor and ask specifically for these 3 tests: TSH, free T3, and free T4. You have to be your own advocate here.
And finally, let's not underestimate just plain old stress. Look, starting a new way of eating is stressful. You're tracking food, learning new recipes, changing your whole lifestyle. You pile that on top of your job, your family, and everything else. That can raise your stress hormone, cortisol. And guess what high cortisol is directly linked to? Yep, hair shedding. All right, enough about what's going wrong. You came here for answers. So let's shift gears and walk through a really clear, actionable protocol to get your hair and your body back on track.
Here it is, your 8-week plan. It's super simple. For the first 2 weeks, you're a detective. You get that blood work we talked about, especially iron and ferritin, the full thyroid panel, and vitamin D. While you wait for results, you track your food. Be honest. Are you really eating enough protein? Is your calorie deficit gentle? Then, for the next 6 weeks, you take action. Based on your lab results, you supplement what you're low in. And for absolutely everyone, add those 2 Brazil nuts a day and maybe try some nutrient-packed chicken liver once a week.
Okay, so you've done the detective work, you've made the changes, you're on the right path. There is just one more ingredient required for this to work, and it's probably the hardest one of all. This is it, right? This is the question everybody wants to know. I fixed the problem, so when am I going to see the results in the mirror? When does the shedding stop?
And I'm just going to give you the straight, honest answer. It takes time. The hair growth cycle is incredibly slow. Once you take away the stressor and give your body all the good stuff it needs, you still have to give it 3 to 6 months for the shedding to finally stop and for those new, healthy baby hairs to start visibly growing in. Patience here, it is absolutely non-negotiable. You can't rush it.
So let's wrap this all up. Here's your checklist for recovery. First, remember, this is almost certainly temporary. Second, focus on the real culprits. Don't slash calories and eat more protein and iron-rich foods. Third, get your blood tested so you know your numbers, especially ferritin and vitamin D. And finally, be patient. Give your body the 3 to 6 months it needs. You've got this. You know, when you really think about it, this isn't about blaming a diet. It's about learning to listen to what your body is telling you. Hair loss is just a very, very loud signal that it needs better support. So the real question is, are you ready to give your body that support and give it the time and the nutrition it truly needs to thrive?